kommen wir zu unserem nächsten Slot. Our next slot will be in English. We managed to invite Paul Petrescu from Gameloft. He's a programmatic advertising producer in the gaming sector for Gameloft. That's a massive sector. And he will be live here at the Digital Bash from Bucharest in Romania. And yeah, good morning, Greg.
Hello to Simon. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Just some words for your company, because Gameloft is huge. I checked some numbers and you have more than 250 million active users, more than 300 million ad impressions, more than 27-minute daily activation, and more than 10,000 campaigns. And yeah, this will be a great look in the advertising possibilities. Hey, Greg, for you, the question, like for our speaker earlier in Switzerland, how is the weather in Romania? You have white snow there, or is your
no? It's quite wet. It's quite wet here and cold right now, so that's a bit unfortunate. But we'll, it's the new reality where snow is a bit more rare nowadays.
Yeah, you're working from the office today, or are you in home office?
No, this is my classic home office. I hope you can see my presentation now. I am.
Looks great.
Right,
yeah,
perfect.
Great to have you. We have it's only a smaller slot, so we get a quick insight in the gaming market and in the advertising in the possibilities for advertising. The stage is yours, Greg. Have fun at the Digital Bash, and our participants have fun with him here, and ask your questions about in the chat or in the F&A section. See you later.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, guys, I'm just going to try and be as fast as possible just so I don't get over budget here. Okay, so Gameloft's been in the industry for about 20 years now. We have a lot of active users, about 100 million monthly active users right now. Our session, about 41 minutes a day per the user. A lot of games coming in, highly rated on the market. And we have a lot of partners. Now, alongside these partners, we have a pretty big ad stack. We have three ad stacks. One of them is our premium direct IO, as most publishers do. A programmatic stack, which is really where I'm from and the one I manage, and a classic SDK stack for all your user acquisition needs. Now, when it comes to in-game advertising, this has increased exponentially over the years, and really it's become the preferred method. Well, as in that's where users prefer to get an ad. About 67% of them prefer to get it there, because nowadays, most of the ads in high quality games, I'm going to maybe ignore a lot of copycats and fast web-based applications that have transitioned into the mobile space, which are basically just monetization fiends in a way. The bread and butter of companies like Gameloft or our partners like Outfit 7, Wooga, Rovio is now the incentivized slot. That means it's usually initiated, it's a button, or is always rewarded. So it never comes in to bother you except when you want something from it. As I mentioned, rewarded video is really the bread and butter there. So because it provides high CPMs for the publisher, videos can be converted and be used as assets in all kinds of advertising spaces. So be it you're going for CTV, be it you're going for web, anything, in the end, an MP4 is an MP4. That video can be sent anywhere. Now, what I said earlier, about 41% of players are more likely to pay attention to ads in the mobile space, because again, it's something they initiate in, something they're expecting. It's something that gives them a reward. And from the studies of some of our partners, over 50% of them are even willing to sit about 60 seconds to watch a video, which is a bit insane, if you ask me. We try to limit them at 45 as the user experience does degrade, but it does show that users are looking for that reward. Similarly, 72% of them willing for that, and 80% think it's a good way of doing advertising. Now, going forward from that, because we're here to talk about rich media, because the video is the same anywhere, a person interacting in a game, the way people play games is they're always clicking. They're always going space to space, going to the menus, then playing the game, then going back in the menu, going to the next level. And so sometimes, even if you have an initiated video, which could be preferably 15 seconds, but a lot of them are 30 to 45 seconds, they kind of sit and idle. So at that point, they may start looking at the walls or just being interested in something else. Maybe they're going through the metro and then they just start staring at the door. And as such, rich media can play a good role in interacting with those users. Now, just a slight example is something from McDonald's, and this is in a menu. So this is about having an incentive and getting a coupon for it. But what I'm trying to point out here is that once you turn an ad from a video into a gamification experience, so you turn to a little mini game, you have a lot more user enjoyment, and the user is much more attentive to what's going on there, and he absorbs the graphics, the experience there, and as such associates it with the specific brand. Now, this doesn't have to be a mini game. Just to present a few of the most popular formats, here is a German campaign for Nerf guns, which is actually an interstitial rather than rewarded. But as you can see, it's something that the user interacts with. So it's much easier for them to, and much more in your face as a way to actually see the item that they're buying, instead of just getting this last screen, which would be typical for a lot of interstitials. Instead, they're clicking a bit on it. They're adding the scope, they're adding the butt of the weapon, and the the loading thing. I always forget what that's called. See, just a little bit more detail on the motion interstitial, just stages that the user can go through. They can include animations, depends how much the buyer wants that, etc. So this is just a standard, really rich media. It's a simple rich media. It involves very few elements. It's not complicated, and it provides a great user experience versus just, oh, here you go, get an interstitial there. Now, one of my most popular formats, and generally a lot what's sought after, and it's one of the most more expensive ones for buyers, but also provides the most interaction and the most user engagement, is the mini game. Now, the playable ad, in this case, is a vanish advertisement where the user is shooting oncoming bacteria or viruses. I forget what it's like a Space Invaders style game. I could be wrong. I'm a bit young maybe for that one, but maybe you guys remember that. Right, and just a couple of more examples of rich media. Now, a lot of polls aren't really that interesting to all people. People really click out of them. So it's about, in this case, creating an environment where the poll is interesting, or it piques a person's curiosity. This is a long video, so we might not go for it. Just so you guys can see the animation. Now, CSA, French company, poll surveying, did want to drive engagement against teens and millennial audiences, and to really get their results from that poll. Now, instead of just having a multiple choice question, just a little nice little Excel sheet like thing, or just classic poll, they went with a multiple option and with little pop-up creatures. Now, a lot of targeting was for, again, a young audience, 18 to 35, and the importance are the results. The engagement was 40%, so that means 30% of all people actually clicked on one of the little creatures. And going forth to the end, you have 35% of that 30%. So it is a bit over 10% of the total viewers that saw that ad, went and clicked it. And that's why you see your conversion rate or click-through. Once you reach to the end, the person went forward and went to the website. Right. And just another example here. This is what we call an interactive video. So instead of just sending, you can just have the asset, the video, and to make sure that the user interacts with just doesn't look at it, you just let them click through. Now, in this case, this is an interactive rhythm mini game, interactive video. So it's about getting that, just clicking at the right time and getting into the groove. Else, you might get the song be a bit like muffled. Now, in terms of results versus a video, you have the added benefit of users engaging. This is about 50% of the users engaged with this video. It was a campaign for 1.6 million impressions, and the click-through over engagement, so again, out of those who reach the end, and you can see the watch trailer button there, is 1.34%. So that's quite good compared to performance nowadays, due to this just ubiquity of video on programmatic, on rewarded slots, on every and advertising. The click-through rates have gone down just because of out of a total, people aren't clicking anymore. So if you can make it interactive, if the user goes and engages with that ad, they'll be more likely to actually click and see what's up. But also, that could be for this one, that Coco is an incredibly good movie, and I do recommend, if someone hasn't seen it, to do see it, if it is a bit old. Right. Now, because we are on the programmatic side of the discussion, rich media is popular. So rich media isn't something that's had to be bespoke. A company necessarily had to produce it. It was just for their content. It's no longer like this weird, maybe it's not great, I don't know, it's too expensive. It's quite popular, and it's quite good for Gameloft. Now, the thing is, because we're talking about programmatic, there are differences in how people feel about it. In terms of our deals, 85% of all rich media bookings are doing the classic IO. So the direct IO classic, you buy as your agency comes to us and wants to run this as such because they're quite into it. So they want to do a deal just specific for that. But those kind of direct IO for us are now only 40% of all deals. And this is talking about EMEA, because if you go around the world, it's a bit different. Each market is different. For example, direct deals or direct IO in APAC or the United States are honestly on the fence a bit these days for a lot of publishers. They've kind of all transitioned to full programmatic. However, in EMEA, that relationship hasn't gotten to that level yet. Okay, so rich media versus programmatic. The idea is now, when we try to pitch rich media to a client in programmatic, we have to make sure that they get what they want. So about having precision in targeting, making sure they can see that targeting, brand safety, always making sure that we give them only the right apps for them, and transparency. Now, transparency is really the most important part, because maybe not the buyers themselves are the most skittish in this relationship of running rich media over programmatic compared to video, to rewarded video. But the agencies are the most skittish. It's something that seems very risky, and they're worried that they may not get the required KPI, the required data they have to properly justify an investment versus to justify the investment to their buyer versus just running a standard video or standard interstitial. Now, one of the parts of transparency, and that sometimes there's a lack of knowledge in rich media, is that the technology on which these are created, because this is maybe a bit technical, and I will apologize to technical, but being on the operation side, it's very important for me to let this known. MRAID is a standard by the AB in which display ads interact. It doesn't, well, display ads, it could have embedded videos, but they're not true video ads. They can interact with applications, with web views, with the browsers. And this is technology that's been up since 2013, so it's extremely mature. And the only difference between having an MRAID ad and setting one up that's just a static image, and a mini game or a motion interstitial, as shown earlier, a Nerf gun, it's not that much of a difference. In terms of technology, they're all made compatible to run in the vast majority of gaming publishers, for example. Like the most common, and I see we have also Vongel here, can run MRAID. Like a lot of SDKs can run MRAID. Most publishers can run MRAID. It's just become a standard that everyone is kind of using nowadays. So again, going on the safety side of just in-game advertising, and something that needs like a lot of still agencies need to know, and buyers, that it's safe. There's basically no user-generated content because everything is full screen and there's no scrolling. So once you display an ad there, it's there. It's always there. You can't like scroll out of it. And there's also no strange user-generated content that can happen on certain platforms or even news media. Like I say, hey, there's an ad and there's maybe a bit of fake news on the site. No call outs here, but it does happen on a lot of sites. Right. In terms of brand safety, just to validate this, any agency or buyer typically partners up with a viewability or brand safety partner, be it Mode for Grape Shot, be it Double Verify, be it IS. And they can also check if the publisher, this is about trust and trusting the platform that you're going to send your ad, is also tax certified against fraud. So that means that publisher, that entity has brought in an effort to make sure that their content is safe, that they will not have money spent by buyers on bots, etc. And a quick reminder here, because there's one of the biggest distinct difference when it comes to brand safety on a website, even mobile web, or certain types of news apps or carousel apps and 3D games, is that you can't really measure it on inside the application. So you do use the marketplace data, be it iOS, so the App Store, or the Google Play Store, where you have all the categories. You do have, especially
1 minute left.
1 minute left. 1 minute left. Okay. I didn't realize how slow it's going. All right. So again, viewability going here, the UM SDK, a lot of you know it. It's how you ensure that all your partners, be it DV, IS, or Moat, can track and see what's going on there. And now I have an example. This is a German campaign we just had, specifically just putting this forward. This was a QuickTime event. So it's for Ravensburger. And you can see Moat data. This is from a dashboard, just a quick and dirty one on InView. So you can see how users are spending time based on buckets of data. So rich media in gaming, for summary, I just want to make these notes. Viewability and third-party measurement allows the buyer and the agency to get the appropriate level of transparency, so they know what's going on. Nothing will trick them. This includes brand safety. They have all the data. No user-generated content means there's nothing that could appear next to your little ad there that could be unwanted. The technology is mature. If we're talking about MRAID, which most rich media nowadays that all publishers are running, is done with. And for user experience, the rewarded placement. These are all run on rewarded placements where the users choose to see the ad. So the brand is helping them get a coin and done when it wants. And that's really it. That's on my side. I should have gone a bit faster there. Sorry, it's difficult.
Thanks for your insights, and thanks for a nice trip in the gaming advertising area. Yeah, sounds or looks like great campaigns are possible there. We have some questions, and I picked 3 that you can answer with yes and no, and with one small sentence. Can you disable your screen sharing so I can show the questions? Yeah. So first question, is it possible to connect APIs like Spotify for a playlist? Yes or no?
Yes, Spotify and APIs don't support
crypto and gambling advertising allowed.
For Gameloft, no. This is for us specifically. We do always block, and most of our partners, Rovio, Outfit 7, Buga, block crypto and gambling advertising for these.
Okay. Lewis asked, what is the minimum budget for a test campaign? What can I expect?
Minimum budget for a test campaign. This is difficult to answer because there are so many options. You can go for cheap options, cheaper, like just having your video asset in a QuickTime video, which might be in the single thousands. But I would rather not comment that. You can contact me directly and I can talk to the team based on the country. So if it's Germany, I will have to double check. Okay. But it does vary. The mini games are a fair bit more expensive, of course.
Okay. Okay, sounds great. Yeah, thanks, Grig. Great wishes to Romania, and have a great time and see you hopefully again.